This is more about Giselle, Rob's practice manager in the Deceit Syndrome. It was her father who taught Giselle and her sister humanity, compassion and forgiveness. They were brought up in a small village in southwest France called Virac. It was 10 miles outside Limoges, where they went to school. She loved that city with its Gothic cathedral Saint-Étienne de Limoges, which took 6 centuries to complete, and the medieval timber-framed houses lining the Rue de la Boucherie. Giselle showed more interest than her sister in the Musée National Adrien Dubouche, with its decorated porcelain, but what really changed her life was when her father took them the 5 miles along the D6 to the village of Oradour-sur-la-Glane. This had an unforgettable impact on the 14-year-old. On the 10th of June 1944, a Nazi Waffen SS company massacred 642 of its inhabitants and destroyed the village. After the war, Charles de Gaulle decided the village would not be rebuilt, but left it as a memorial to the cruelty of the Nazi occupation. The family's visit to the destroyed village, and in particular the church where 247 women and 205 children died, was a turning point in Giselle's life. No one was really held to account for the atrocity. Some forced conscripts, the Malgrenus from Alsace and Lorraine, were granted an amnesty. Soon after this lesson, Francois took his 2 daughters to Bertolt Brecht's Mother Courage and Her Children, perhaps the greatest anti-war play of all time. It follows the fortunes of a cunning canteen worker called Anna Freeling, who over the course of the play loses all 3 of her children to the very war she tried to exploit to her own advantage. This made both girls pacifists. What helped to make them feminists was Mary Wollstonecraft's 1792 book, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, making the case for women's co-education alongside men as equals, and Betty Freeland's call to arms in The Feminist Mystique against everything domestic and trivial being the woman's domain and everything important men only. Both girls admitted they could not plough through the whole series of these texts. Their father said this was not necessary. He just wanted them to know of their existence and the arguments they were putting forward. Another Christmas present was Naomi Wolf's The Beautiful Myth, which recognised the dark truth that however clever, funny and dynamic women might be, there was always something trying to make them feel bad about the size of their thighs. Francois wanted his girls to help create a world where this attitude was no longer acceptable.